Muscle breakdown will only be instigated by cortisol when insulin is present. So when you're in a keto state and when you're fasting, you're pushing that insulin level low, and you're basically turning off muscle breakdown as a possibility, and you're amping up, essentially this fatty acid oxidation, breaking down your own fat stores, okay, from adipose tissue. So this is the other piece of the puzzle for getting to 6% body fat on a ketogenic diet. Now, of course, you can implement these strategies onto any diet, right? I'm just simply a big believer in keto, and I use it, year round, because I simply feel great on it, and I prefer it as an eating style. I have so much more productivity available to me because I get to make these videos. I'm not reliant on food all day, completely fasted at like 8:07 p.m. Hey, my name is Anthony Romano, and I'm going to tell you in this video how to get to 6% body fat on a ketogenic diet. Very quickly, by the way, not just for clickbait points, but because this is true. I've helped people for free for years. I've coached people. This is something that I specialize in, and I know, all the different boundaries and restrictions of ketogenic dieting. I try to do it in the cleanest way possible, and all the little tweaks you can throw in. You don't have to do keto to get to 6% body fat, but it certainly is more enjoyable of a way to get to 6% body fat when you're doing it this way, especially because you are stabilizing, your blood sugar. You're not creating this volatile cycle of up and down of blood sugar and insulin, because your appetite is directly correlated to those things. And overall, it allows you to stay lean year round. You can stay lean year round, and I'm not 6% right now, but it's January. Christmas just passed.
I'll let you see the Christmas fact.
Right? Even after, maybe a bit of indulgences, keeping keto as the baseline keeps you lean and keeps you mean. It keeps you focused and allows you to make videos like this that go on and hopefully don't ramble too much. The first thing you want to do is make sure you're actually in ketosis. So what is this? This is not eating the wrong carbs. A lot of times people on YouTube will tell you, you can eat a little bit of fruit. You can eat a little bit of this. You can have a Snickers bar. Just have one bite. Okay? Maybe they don't say the Snickers bar thing. I probably say that one too much. But there are certain things that you can have on keto because keto is qualitative. It is not quantitative. It simply is avoid the wrong kinds of carbs, those being the ones that will spike your blood sugar. So that will eventually raise your blood insulin, which will kick you out of ketosis and make your appetite much more volatile and ruin the whole experience. So please don't do it. Okay, watch my videos on how to do keto properly. If you go to my Keto Essentials playlist, right there somewhere, it will teach you everything you need to know about doing keto properly. But I'm going to give you these techniques that you will need to implement to proper keto, in order to get to 6% body fat quickly. And what those strategies are is A, get in ketosis and do it properly. B, manage your calories. Okay, right? Easy enough. C, implement intermittent fasting and fasted cardio. That's number 4. If you combine all of these strategies together, you can lose dramatic amounts of fat. But there's some extra tweaks I'm going to throw in here. If you're truly taking the most aggressive approach, what you can do is you can get your hands on either a ketone ester or exogenous ketones, right? So from there, you can do some prolonged fasting. Now, if we're talking the literal fastest way to get ripped on a ketogenic diet, it would be to fast for days on end, because this puts you in the deepest state of ketosis, because even if you're not consuming any food, you're not consuming carbs, which puts you in ketosis in the deepest end of the pool. But a way to hack this is to have some ketone ester or exogenous ketones. This essentially puts your body in a ketogenic state right away, which stabilizes insulin, makes you more insulin sensitive momentarily, and stabilizes your blood sugar. Of course, your body didn't produce those ketones, but it's a way to kind of kickstart a process of, momentum, so that you then can fast for a longer amount of time. And during that time, you could start to do some cardio activity in the fasted state, which will dramatically increase fat burn. I'm serious. This is just, there's no debate about this. The best type of cardio to do as well is low intensity steady state, at least for fat burn. And here's why. When you're on a ketogenic diet, your body is running primarily on fat. When you do low intensity steady state cardio, your body is prioritizing the use of fat, because fat is, as I've mentioned in other videos, is gasoline, right? It's gasoline if you're a car, and nitric oxide is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are luxuries. You can't run an entire car on nitrous oxide because then it will burst its engine, okay? But when you do high intensity activity, you could use some of that luxury fuel, right? Your body will eventually make it on its own on a keto state long enough. But if you're trying to burn fat, you don't want to be using that. You want to be using fat because that's what you want to get rid of. So what you do is you do the low intensity stuff, because fat is a longer, slower burning fuel. And if you can incorporate plenty of low intensity steady state cardio, you're basically going to be saying to your body, hey, save the high intensity fuel, right, for workouts, which will also make you burn more fat as well. But if you can prioritize training in the fasted state and doing cardio in the fasted state, you're going to be doing two things. Number one, you're going to do the cardio benefits, which I just explained, right? And this is not simply for calorie burn. This is because it will up your metabolic rate, because it will increase the demand that is put on your body to burn through fuel. If you simply, hit a calorie goal without any cardio, your body will eventually down-regulate how much fat it burns every day, because it doesn't want to run through all of its fat in 1 week, okay? It wants to down-regulate things, which makes you more tired, makes you more hungry, because your body's trying to tell you, hey, go out and get some food. You're sitting on your ass all day. That's basically what your body's telling you. And it makes you want to sit on your ass all day because your body doesn't want to die. Your body's a survival machine. So if you're running on fat, and you basically avoid this, but even if you're running on fat, you should still be adding in some cardio in the light intensity, steady state form, because what this will do is it will boost how much demand is on your metabolism. It will tell your metabolism that, hey, we clearly do this much activity every day, so, we're just, instead of just shutting everything off, we're going to double down on how fast all the fat oxidation is going, because clearly, if this is the amount of work we're putting in every day, if this is the amount of activity we're subjected to, we can't afford to be sedentary. We can't afford to sit on our ass all day. So this is essentially the demand that you trick your whole system into believing, right? To put it in metaphorical terms, by adding in some cardio for 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, light intensity stuff. Easy, not sprinting. I'm not telling you to do, a whole intense workout besides, the intense workouts. And this is the second thing I was talking about. When we're talking about the other fat burning benefit of being in the keto state and getting there really quickly, get into that 6% body fat very quickly, the tips, like I said, are calories, keto, intermittent fasting, fasted cardio. If you can do prolonged fasting, great, but then, fasted workouts. And here is the last reason why that will accelerate your fat loss to get you ripped in like several weeks if you're already lean enough, okay? If you can add in fasted workouts, like the high intensity stuff, there is another benefit of doing it fasted, because when you are in the low insulin state, which you will be in from a keto metabolism, and you will be in even, more stable and low insulin of a state if you're intermittent fasted, your body is going to isolate body fat as its fuel source when cortisol rises. So when you do any stressful activity, what's going to happen is your body is going to try to activate the catabolic hormone, cortisol. Cortisol's purpose is to break things down so you can use them. It's catabolic, it breaks things down. So basically, high intensity activity in that low insulin state indicates to your body, okay, we have to break some shit down. But because we're in a low insulin state, we want to break down fat, because that is the most effective fuel at this point. And it doesn't want to break down your muscle tissue because you're using that. And cortisol will only cause the breakdown of muscle tissue as fuel when it's released in the presence of insulin. Okay? So let me repeat that. You can write that down. Muscle breakdown will only be instigated by cortisol when insulin is present. So when you're in a keto state and when you're fasting, you're pushing that insulin level low, and you're basically turning off muscle breakdown as a possibility, and you're amping up, essentially this fatty acid oxidation, breaking down your own fat stores, okay, from adipose tissue. So this is the other piece of the puzzle for getting to 6% body fat on a ketogenic diet. Now, of course, you can implement these strategies onto any diet, right? I'm just simply a big believer in keto, and I use it, year round because I simply feel great on it, and I prefer it as an eating style. I have so much more productivity available to me because I get to make these videos. I'm not reliant on food all day, completely fasted at like 8:07 p.m., right? Well, besides a coffee, right? But that is it for this one. You want to add in this fasted state and use it as a baseline. This is where you can get very aggressive with things. You can still eat big, right? Because last little analogy I'll put in here that ties in with the whole cardio thing and how much you're burning and calorie burn through high intensity and low intensity is, like I said, you're increasing the demand on your body, on your metabolism to break down. But at the same time, a person who is eating more and burning it, okay, this is the fundamental analogy I want to break down here for you, because this will give you the key to getting shredded as quickly as possible. When you take somebody who is at let's say their net calories at the end of the day are 2,000, right? You take somebody who's like, 200 pounds or something, 6-foot man, right? Just something universal, right? Because I know the calories that apply to that, whether you're a man or a woman, whatever. Somebody who is at a net 2,000 calories per day, right? And let's say their maintenance calories is 3,000. The person eating 2,000 and doing no cardio, no other activity besides maybe a bit of training, is going to they're still going to lose weight. Just eventually that's going to slow down because the body's going to down-regulate how much fat it burns every day because it doesn't perceive a higher demand. The person who is eating 3,000 and then burning off 1,000 to get to that 2,000 calorie net expenditure at the end of every day is not only burning off 1,000, but they're also eating 1,000 more. So you get a double-pronged amping up of this fat-burning engine. And here's why. Because, of course, you're increasing the demand on your metabolism through cardio, etc., and all these other calorie-burning activities, but you're also putting more into the digestive system. You're showing the metabolism that it's going to burn through 3,000 calories every day. So you're increasing how much it's used to taking in, and you're increasing how much it's burning off. So you're basically telling your body, we are eating every day the amount of calories that a 3,000 calorie person eats. And you're also showing that it burns off those calories. So essentially, you're increasing the demand in two ways. You're increasing it because you're lowering the net expenditure, but you're also increasing how much you consume each day. So essentially, you're showing that each day we have to hit this demand of 3,000 calories, right? It's not simply that you reach the net expenditure, it's that your body has to get through that much more food, and it indicates on a signaling level that you are somebody who consumes that much food, and that is the amount that you need to sustain yourself. So hopefully that made a little bit more sense, but essentially, it's even better than simply, getting to that net calorie expenditure by simply eating less, okay? So eating more and moving more is better than eating less and not moving. That makes sense? When you combine all these strategies together, you will get to the leanest levels you can possibly get to in the most sustainable way in the shortest amount of time. And these are my tried and true tactics. I increase those tools as I progress on my fat loss diets for myself and my clients, but each individual tool applies differently for people. This is why I essentially, I have my own preferences for certain things. I'm always aware of how much of these things I've been doing all the time, but this is the way that if you're not somebody who wants to, have me assess this for you, this is the tools that you can apply in addition, minus the extra little tricks I have up my sleeve. But, this gives you a lot to work with if you're somebody who's aggressively pursuing fat loss on a ketogenic plan. That's it for this one. Go to my website, romanoketo.com, for consultations, coaching, programs dropping soon, and group coaching. Okay, that's going to be dropping soon. So message me on Instagram, AnthonyRomano7, if you're interested in that, and follow my Instagram too while you're there. I'll consume less coffee on the next video. Anthony Romano, peace.